Good evening, everybody. I hope you can hear me. Welcome to this evening. It is our post-18 destinations information evening for this year. My name is Mrs. Parker. I'm the head of sixth form here at the Apollo sixth form at the Castle Rock School. It is not the last week of term we were expecting. However, all the events that we planned in this week will still be going ahead. This week we've got our virtual work experience with the LEBC, which is the Leicestershire Education Business Company. They're going to be working with our students on some work experience, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, is particularly difficult at the moment. We also have our National Citizenship Service launch on Thursday afternoon as well. So that gives students the opportunity to hear about a really exciting enrichment opportunity that is coming up in the summer, and Miss Booth is going to talk a little bit about enrichment at the end of this session. I'd like to welcome Savannah Robinson from the University of Leicester and Nav Kaur from the Ask Project with us this evening. They are in our meeting with us. I think you can see Savannah just at the bottom of your screen there, looking like Kylie Minogue, Savannah, today. So Savannah's going to take over in a moment. Just a little bit of extra information for you. 100% of all of our students either go to university, secure an apprenticeship, or are in employment. We've got a high percentage of students who go to Russell Group or Oxbridge. They go to conservatoires, art colleges, overseas universities. This year we've had a student who's gone to Barcelona and studying there in September. I'm not sure I understand. What's really important is there is something for everybody. All of our students have support based on whether they want to go to university, whether they want to secure an apprenticeship, and there is a place for all. I'm going to hand over now to Savannah Robinson and she can introduce herself to you. I'm going to mute and come off the camera, Savannah, and I'm going to hand over to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And it's lovely to see so many of you here tonight as well. Do bear with me because I am just going to present my screen, which hopefully you will be able to see now, which will be brilliant. Do let me know if you can see that. Brilliant. I think you can. Okay, so yeah, it's lovely to be here. I'm going to give you a little bit of background about university and some of the things that you might be needing to think about or you might be worried about as well, particularly things like student finance. And other things like that too. But just before we start, I just wanted to actually introduce myself. I work at the University of Leicester, so I work in the Future Students Office there. I went to university myself, first in the family to go, so it was quite daunting. And I think like some of the things that we really struggled with were, you know, how do I know it's the right choice? How am I going to afford this? All of those questions that you might be thinking of as well. So I completely understand. And if there are any questions, please do ask at the end. You can also see on the right there's a profile. I'll give you the link to that at the end, but it is a chat function we have on our website, and you can get in touch with me privately if you prefer not to, you know, say about your circumstances or anything else on the call today. But I had an amazing time at university, and I think that, you know, in school I absolutely loved school, but I realized like my full potential definitely afterwards. And you know what, no matter what their next step is, they're going to be doing something even more specific that they'll love even more, and they'll meet so many people while doing that as well with similar interests. So it's an exciting experience, and I think that it's needed, especially after the year that we've had. But firstly, I just wanted to overview what the application process looks for the students who are applying to university. So this is kind of what it looks like. So from now until October, they're going to be researching those courses and universities, deciding where they want to go. They're going to be writing their personal statements as well, and I know that loads of them made a really good start. I think as well it's important, even if they are thinking about doing an apprenticeship, the personal statement is the first time that you really write about yourself, and you would have had that experience. And I know that you guys will know. Maybe some of you find it really easy. I definitely don't. Writing about yourself can be really difficult, and personal statements is just that chance to get it down on paper in an environment where you get lots of support. So I definitely recommend that they got on with that as well. Then they've got until October to apply for Oxbridge Medicine, Dentistry, Veterinary Science, 26th of January for all those other applications as well. Then after that, they'll start getting their offers in. So they'll have things like conditional offer, which means that they've got to get things like 3As to get in. They might get an unconditional, which means they're guaranteed a place. They might have to interview, or they might be rejected from the university. It's very rare that they are rejected from all 5 offers, or 5 places. However, if they are, there are options. There's things like UCAS Extra, and I know Castle Rock will look after them and make sure that if that does happen, UCAS Extra is there to apply again. March to May time is then when they'll decide. So they'll decide on their first choice, the place they really want to go to, the backup, the insurance. They reject any other offers they got, and they can go to offer holder days to kind of sort this out and help them make up their mind. I know for a lot of students this year, they've not been able to visit universities, and so knowing that that's the right step can be really difficult. However, there will be offer holder days next year, and we're actually offering campus tours all the way through to summer, and we're doing open days, hopefully, fingers crossed, in September, if not October. So there will be the opportunity to view the university before or after applying. May to July time is then when they'll revise for those exams and apply to their first choice accommodation. They've then got results day in August, and hopefully it'll be happy and they'll be going where they want to. And then you will have driven your car or wherever you're driving all the way to university. You might be there waving them off, crying. You might be celebrating, like, yeah, can't wait to get rid of them. I think my mum put on a front with me, and she was like, oh yeah, house party. And then she actually got really upset when she realised that I was 5 hours away from home. But it's an exciting next step. And, even if they're doing things like apprenticeships, they can have a look at this option to see if it's the right place. And there's things that they can consider to make sure that it's the right choice for them. With their personal statement, they will have started this, but I just wanted to mention it before. Encourage them to check if they need work experience. You're really lucky that they're getting work experience, next week. But even if it's not necessarily related to what they want to do, it's all about the skills they get from that work experience that they can bring into it. So it doesn't have to be related. We know how difficult it is at the moment. If you can help them, encourage them to do independent research, like reading books. They might need help proofreading or reading out loud. I read mine out loud to my cat because I was too embarrassed to do it to my mum, but they might like your help. Keep an eye on the school's deadlines and try and encourage them to meet them, just so you're helping the teachers out, and remind them of some of the things that they might have done. I know when I was there, a lot of them were really struggling and thinking, oh, I don't have many transferable skills. And then you talk to them about this part-time job that they had, before the pandemic, and they've gained so many just through doing that. So I think encouragement, and that's important for things like apprenticeships as well, just encouraging them to remember all those amazing skills and all those amazing things they have done, even if there has been a pandemic. When they're choosing courses and places, it can be quite difficult. So ask them these questions if you can. Think about what they enjoy doing. It doesn't necessarily have to be in school. Do they have a favorite topic? Is there something they're interested in? Do you do something and they like going to work with you? Is there an apprenticeship in that? Is there a specific career in mind or vocation? Prospects.ac.uk is a really good site to look at all those different jobs that are available. They can do joint honours in a lot of subjects that are similar if they really can't make up their mind. And remember, whatever happens, it has to be their choice. I think a lot of the time we get swayed by our friends, but whatever they decide to do, they're going to make new friends, and just reminding them of that is really important. When they're choosing a place to go, think about all these different things as well. The first one is entry requirements. I always say encourage them to make 2 aspirational choices and then 3 choices that are at least a predicted grades, just so they've got all those different options. And then think about all these different deal breakers. You might really want them to be close to home, and maybe they want that as well. However, for some of them, they might want to be at least an hour away to make sure they're not coming home every weekend and they get that independence. It's different for everyone. So think about all these different things. And I think one of the main things is definitely getting them to think about, how the course is taught, what the student support is like, and how they're assessed as well. So I've got an example here just to show you how different it can be. At the moment they're doing 9 till 3:30 in school. At university, some of you might know, but it changes quite a lot. They can do lessons until 6. For some places, I know for my course, drama and theatre, one of the reasons I chose it was because of the contact hours I got. My schedule was a lot like the one on top. But then I had friends who really didn't like that and wanted the schedule that was on the bottom because they preferred doing their own independent reading and independent research. So think about all those different things as well. The contact hours are quite important and how they're taught as well. Every place is different. Some will have more practicals, like the one on the top. There might be some courses where you have a full day where you're free. So get them to consider these different things and remember it is different. You might be doing a lesson until 6. That's just how it is when you get to university, but you might have a day off as well. Now, the other thing is the student support as well that I mentioned. You want to make sure that if they are going away, they're getting support. And at Leicester, we've put a lot of emphasis on this year. We have a counselling service that's available. It's free to students. And then we've got Nightline as well. So there's 24-hour, people that they can get in contact with. There's student services for, students that need support with learning. They might have disabilities as well. They're worried about welfare. There's always support there for them to sort out. And one of the main people that help them with this is the personal tutor that they'll be assigned, just because that really, really helps them. And it means that, they're the kind of guide for them. There's then the bursaries and scholarships as well. I'll go into this later on, but they're there to support financially as well. Some of the things that are specific to University of Leicester are our 24-hour security app. That means they can check in with us whenever they're at the university, and if anything goes wrong, it means security will be there and support them. I know it's really helpful sometimes. There were so many times that I accidentally locked myself out of my room after a shower because I was in shared accommodation, and security really helped with that. And then there is a report and support app as well. So there's always someone there to help them. And the personal tutor's there to help them kind of find those different places too. So when they are researching, like I said, they need to really think about their transition to university. Remember that it is different to school. The way they're taught, it's not just classrooms. They'll have a mixture. Some of it might be just lectures. Some of them might be a mixture of lectures and seminars. And then assessments as well. Some of them might be exams. Some of them might be essays too. And they really need to go into depth and research this to understand what their transition will be like to university. And they know how they're going to be taught to make sure it's to their standard where they can excel as well. But there's lots of things that they can look at to support with them, like coming to webinars and subject tasters are a really good one. And all these resources are free as well. Like I said, we did have an open day recently, and we do have those campus tours that are available if any of them are interested in Leicester. So I'm going to move quickly on to student finance because I don't want to take up everybody's evenings, and I know this is a big worry for a lot of you. I just want to explain how it works. With Student Finance England, this is who you'd apply to if you're going to any university in the UK. So even if you go into somewhere like Scotland, or or Wales, you'd apply to Student Finance England. There is eligibility criteria to do this. You need to be normally a UK resident or have settled status. If you're concerned about any of this, I would really recommend that you look on the Student Finance website to check the eligibility, just because it is quite in depth and it will really help you rather than me not giving you a definite answer. With Student Finance, they do one application. That one application will give them a tuition fee, which is £9,250 per year. They do have to reapply every year, but it's really easy, and I'll talk about that later. So that one application will give them that tuition fee loan. That goes directly to the university. It will also give them a maintenance loan. So this is to help them, survive, pay for things like food, bills, rent, all those different things. And that depends on household income. And I'll show you that in a second. They then get additional support like disabled students allowance. You've then got universities and companies that offer bursaries and scholarships, which is free money. So it's definitely worth applying to these. And there's some weird and wonderful ones out there. To explain the maintenance loans, this is what it looks like. So if they decide to live at home, they get slightly less. The idea being that maybe you'd be able to support them more, maybe not charge them rent, that kind of thing. If they go to live in London, it's obviously more expensive because with inflation there, so you get more maintenance loan. If they go anywhere else, they get the elsewhere amount. And as you can see, as the household income goes up, the maintenance loan amount goes down. And the idea of that is that maybe you'd be able to support them. I know some of my friends got really annoyed when they were in the middle band because it wasn't maybe enough to cover everything. And their family might have had their money tied up in a business. Remember, there is other options. They can get a job either during the holidays, or they can get a job like an ambassador while they're at the university, which is a really good way to balance that life and get a bit of an additional money. So there is other options there for them. But this is what it looks like. And household income is any taxable income. So you can see a full draft of this on the HMRC website, but it's basically, your income. If you rent a house or something, it would include those different things. But do ask questions at the end if they have any questions on the maintenance loan. And then there's the additional support, like I mentioned before. You can look at the student finance calculator to see what they'd be eligible for, and just to have a look and see if you need to, look at different scholarships and bursaries, or supplementing income in a different way. So we've talked a bit about what they get, and I think this is something that catches a lot of people out, the loan repayments. It's important to remember it's not you who pays it. It's not the student, it is a graduate, and it's only when they're starting earning over a certain amount. And I really want to make this clear. Student finance is there to make sure everyone can go to university no matter what your financial background. So do not feel like you need to, save loads of money to send them to university, because you're not going to have to pay for them to go to university. You might need to support them a little bit if they don't get as much maintenance loan, but they try and be as fair as possible. So how it works is there's no repayments until they're earning over £27,295, and that might even go up until since they apply to university. If they are earning over that amount, they'll start repaying 9% of everything they earn over that amount. So, for example, if they were earning £27,296, they're a pound over, so they pay back 9p. So it's really, really fair. They're not going to be starving because they've got to pay it back. As well, if they're not earning over that amount, they don't have to pay it back at all. If they earn over that amount one year, then they change jobs or lose it, and they're earning less, then they stop repaying it. Just because they go over the threshold once doesn't mean that they're automatically over it for life. All outstanding repayments are written off after 30 years. So 30 years after they graduate, it's completely gone. There's no red mark against their name. Nothing happens. In fact, they've got nearly a year where they don't even have to worry about repayments because they don't start until the April after after you've completed your studies anyway. If you do decide that you're in a position where you want to repay early or overpay, there's no penalty for this. However, I would really recommend that you think about if it's the best place to kind of put that money, just because, it's written off after 30 years anyway. A lot of people don't pay back their student loan. I am going to be one of them probably, unless something amazing happens. And that money might be better put into something like a house deposit if you're in that position. If you're not, there's no need to worry about it. It doesn't affect your credit rating either. So when they go for things like a credit card or a mortgage, it's not going to affect that. So it's important to remember. To break this down even more, you can see it here. Usually, if they are earning a salary, which most of them will be, they repay every month. And another thing that's really great about this is that it's done after salary sacrifice. So, even if they're just over the 27,295 amount and tax and their pension brings them back down under that amount, then they don't repay it. But you'll see, if they're only 30 grand, it's £20 a month. That might be more than you're paying for their phone bill at the moment. So it is done in a really fair way to make sure they can still reap the rewards of being able to have a higher salary because they've gone to university. There is loan interest as well, but please do not worry about it. The reason I say this is a lot of people don't even pay off their student loan. After 30 years, someone earning £31,575 won't have even paid off their tuition fee. Never mind the maintenance loan or the interest. A lot of people, 83% of people, don't clear the debt, including interest, and nothing happens to them. Nothing at all. I will be one of them. I'm not worried about it. So you guys really do not need to worry about it. It is 100% worth it for the experience you can have. And like I said, they might never have to pay it back if they don't earn over that amount. And if they do, it's only a small amount each month anyway. So they don't have to worry. And don't worry about the interest because a lot of people don't pay it off. It's only if you're earning mega bucks. So how to apply to student finance? It's really easy. They basically will have to apply online the year they're going to the university. So that would be next year for these guys. It's really easy. They don't have to know which university they're definitely going to. They put the university they think they're going to end up at, and they can change it on results day if they need to. The household income for the maintenance loan is assessed based on the previous tax year. I'll go into this in a little bit more detail, but if you're panicking because your household income has changed quite a lot, don't worry, and I'll tell you why in a bit. One thing I would say is make sure that when you check their application, they've ticked the box to say share information with the university, because this means any bursaries that they'd be eligible for, they will automatically get, and they don't need to apply to. They do need to reapply every year, but it's nice and easy. Get them to keep account of their customer reference number and passwords, and they basically just check through the information every year. For you guys, what you need to do is you'll need to check your junk mail, because when they have applied, you'll be asked to set up an account using that website if it doesn't come through. And you can see there on the left what it looks like for you. If your income has dropped by 15%, then you can do a current year income assessment form. What you have to do is get them to submit their application as normal, and then you submit your current assessment form, and they'll ask you to provide evidence of this. So nice and easy. A lot of it is multi-choice questions. They try and make it as easy as possible. We recommend they try and apply around May time. It opens in February, so they'll have loads of time to apply by May. But definitely don't leave it until August on results day, because by then it's a little bit harder for student finance to process it and get their money to them on time, which would be rubbish when you're starting freshers and meeting loads of people and wanting to do loads of things. I do want to briefly touch on budgeting just before I finish. It's one of the things that people definitely get caught up on, especially students for the first time. It might be the time where they've had a lot of money. One thing I would say is look at scholarships, see if they can get any additional things they can apply to and additional money. There's some really weird and wonderful ones out there. The Vegetarian Charity do a £500 scholarship to anybody who can promise to be a vegetarian and they're in financial hardship. There's loads of weird ones out there. There's one for people who are the child of a greengrocer. There's lots, so apply to them and you can stack them. You don't just have to apply to one, there are loads, and apply to every single one to get that free money. Why not? Have a look at job opportunities. I would definitely recommend becoming an ambassador. I love being an ambassador. It's basically university work, so you work on open days and do things like that. And they're really good because they only let you work a certain amount of hours, which means you're always going to have time to study. Go through budgeting with them. If you are a massive budgeter and have those Excel documents, get them open. But there are loads of free budgeting apps as well. So have a look at those too. Look at different bank accounts as well. Barclays and Santander do a lot of different things. They might have a really big overdraft that's interest free for them if they think they maybe need that. Santander do a 4-year rail card. So if they're traveling, that's definitely a massive help. But they're my top tips for budgeting. When they are kind of preparing for university, from now until then, one thing I would say is make sure they're reading their emails from the schools and also from universities if that's where they're applying to. Schools send out lots of really good information. They'll let them know about the deadlines and any opportunities that are coming up. So just make sure they're reading them. There might even be opportunities for you. I know at the moment we've got a lot of parent sessions going on that are coming up for results day. So read those emails because there might be stuff for you as well. It'll also tell them when they need to apply for accommodation and set up things like their student card. If you haven't visited, it might be a good idea to visit. I couldn't afford to visit every university that I applied to, but because of things like offer holder days and campus tours, when I kind of made my final decisions, I could visit the ones that I hadn't had the opportunity to yet. Make sure they keep their mind active, try and encourage them. I know it's been really hard, but try and encourage them to look at things at school and then look at suggested reading lists as well. But as well, let them have a break. It's been really hard. So, we're not expecting them to read loads and loads over the summer. But those personal statements are really important and it'll just put them at ease and not have them panicking when they get back. Don't let them pack the whole kitchen. A lot of people are tempted to do this and there's not enough room. You don't need to buy all that stuff. Um, bring stuff, get them to bring stuff to remind them of home. Hold off on buying reading materials. You might know the reading list for your university already, or the universities you're applying to. Just hold off on it. The books are really expensive and you can get them at university for much cheaper or even free from the library. They don't have to sign up to every society. Just get them to join to begin with and join everything that's interesting. Your first year is all about settling in and finding the place you really fit in. Practice cooking with them. That's really important. I knew some people who didn't even know how to cook pasta and they lived off smash when they were in first year. It was gross. I had a bit and I couldn't believe I had to teach them how to make pesto pasta because they couldn't live off smash for that long. It was so sad seeing just smash in a bowl every night. But get them to practice cooking and get them to get a bit excited as well. This year has been hard. Even if they're not going to university and they're thinking about things like apprenticeships, get them excited. Things are getting back to normal, fingers crossed, touch wood. So, this is a big adventure and it can be exciting for you as well, sending them off. And, if you haven't been to university, getting to see them. I know my mum absolutely loved it. So have a look at all those different places and, you're in it as well. So get excited for that big adventure. But that is the end of my talk. If you want me to go over anything at the end, I'm more than happy to answer questions. And remember, there's no age limit on learning. So, the student finance and stuff is available for you guys. So if you're interested, get in touch because we'd love to have you at our university too. But yeah, that's it from me. I don't know whether you want to do questions now or whether I should wait until the end.
Hi, Savannah. Thank you for that. I think what we'll do is if anybody's got any questions, if you want to put it in the meeting chat, and we'll let those filter through just while Nav talks to us about apprenticeships, and then we will cover them at the end if that's okay with you.
Brilliant, yeah.
Fabulous, thank you. Nav, I believe we have you in our virtual room. Are you there?
Hi, good evening. I'll just quickly share my screen with you guys. Hopefully it'll be quite swift. Get this up. Should load. Hopefully it should be popping up your screen.
Yeah, we've got it. Thanks, Nav.
Okay, fab. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me. My name is Nav, and I'm here on behalf of the National Apprenticeship Service. So I'm going to talk to you all about the wonderful world of apprenticeships. So if you have any questions, please utilise the chat function and we'll get those answered at the end of the session. Okay, so we'll go straight in. What is an apprenticeship? What is it all about? Now, when your child leaves college, they'll have three options. Either go into the wonderful world of work, go to university, as mentioned, or the third option is apprenticeship, which is basically a bit of both in terms of they'll be working a day-to-day role, but also studying alongside it. So how it works is 80% of the time they'll be doing the day-to-day activities of said job, and the remaining 20% of the time they will be studying towards a job-related qualification. Okay, so they will be earning a wage, and I'll come on to that in a little moment. But again, they'll be working roughly around about 30 hours each per week. Again, it can be a little bit more, it can be a little bit less. It just depends on the organisation. Now, they will be studying towards a job-related qualification, and that will already be preset by the employer. So there's no running around trying to find the university that's needed per se. This is already going to be preset by the employer. Now, as it is a real job, okay, they'll receive an employment contract, and as any employment contract, it will stipulate the wages, any sick pay, and if they're lucky, any bonus pay that they're entitled to. So it is a real job with real responsibilities, and when they sign on the dotted line, they are saying to the employer that they will give it 100% and get the education alongside it. And again, as it's a job, they'll get treated like anyone else within the organisation. Now, this bit can get a little bit confusing, so I'll break it down for you guys. When your child leaves sixth form / college, they'll be looking at levels 4, 5, 6 and 7. I'm going to break it down further. Levels 4 and 5 are the equivalent of a foundation degree, okay? And level 6 is the equivalent of a bachelor's degree. And level 7 is the equivalent of a master's degree, okay? So the higher degree apprenticeship will take in the region of 2 to 3 years possibly to complete. And level 6 is a bachelor's degree, and level 7, they both take in the region of 4 to 6 years to complete. And that's just an overview of the different levels that will be applicable to your child. So this is a question I'm going to put out to you guys there, okay? Again, if you can utilise a chat function, that'd be fab. If you think the question, is what percentage of apprentices are given a full-time job by their employer after completing their apprenticeship? What percentage of apprentices are given a full-time job by their employer after completing their apprenticeship? If you think it's 20% A, put that in there. If you think it's 35% B, put B in there. If you think it's 72% C, utilise that. Or equally, if you think it's D, 90%, put in D. If I can have the answers, that'd be fab. Fiona's put D, fab, okay. Great. Jill C. Susie C again. Stuart D, okay. Okay. The answer is in fact D. Okay, it's brilliant. Thank you, Lucy. So 90% of apprentices, once they complete their apprenticeship, end up staying on with the employer. So again, that might be something positive to focus on and think about. I get this question a lot from parents and from students. What happens once my apprenticeship has been completed? And again, the other 10% that do decide to leave could be a number of different reasons, such as they want to relocate. It could be that they want to change their job role, or equally it could be salary. But again, 90% stay on with the employer. So again, there's lots of misconceptions when it comes to the world of apprenticeships, and I'll go through them one by one. So as mentioned, they will earn a salary. Now, currently the national minimum wage is £4.30. However, a lot of employers do pay above the national minimum wage. Okay, they like to see their employees, their apprentices, as investment, and they'll pay accordingly to that. But again, I always say to parents and to students is think about the progression. Once you've got that qualification and that experience, you can go to another organisation. But again, think about the progression. Now, as we've touched base, 90% end up staying with the employer, a really high retention rate. But equally, social life, that comes up. What happens when it comes to the social aspect? Will they still meet people? Now, as you guys are fully aware, once you get a job, your social life is not completely kaput. It'll be more so reserved towards the weekends, such as Friday and Saturday. However, depending on the organisation that they join, it can be a large organisation. They may meet a number of different people, equally same age to them, or equally a little bit older. But again, they'll still have that chance to meet people. Now, again, they can gain a degree, and I'll touch base on that on the next slide. But again, with apprenticeships, there's nothing to pay whatsoever. It is fully funded by the government. Your child will still receive their salary, and it is their money to spend on whatever it is they want to spend it on. So again, that's something to bear in mind. But with apprenticeships, they are located throughout the whole of England. So if your child wants to, if this child finds a job in, say, Newcastle, in Nottingham, Derby, Birmingham, London, okay, they have the option, okay, to move around. But again, that financial implication, is this something that you can help them on? Okay, are you able to assist them from moving from one city to another? With regards to accommodation and all those little things at the beginning. But again, okay, going back on high and degree apprenticeships. Now, this is a real alternative to going to the traditional route of university. Now, again, they will still be earning and learning from day one per se, but the salaries are a little bit better. So starting salaries, you're looking at in the region of £12,000 to £25,000, again, depending on the organisation and the company. Now, as I've touched base, there are no debts. There's no debt whatsoever to pay. So currently, as been mentioned, tuition fees are £9,000+ per year. Again, this is nothing, no cost to the parent or your child. Now, with regards to high degree apprenticeships, there are over 100 universities that do offer this. Okay, but when it comes to this, it will be your child will have to find the employer, and the employer will select the university. Okay, your child selects the employer, and the employer will select the university that they've decided to do the necessary studying for. Now, as they'll be treated as any other student, as they attach to university, they'll still have all the benefits, such as that beautiful NUS card that I dearly miss. They'll get percentage off, eatery, clothing, and books if required. Now, again, as mentioned, they're tied to university, and they can join up to the student union, any clubs, any societies as well as. So again, that social aspect, okay, is still there. But it's the last two boxes are the most important. Okay, yes, they do take a little bit longer, in the region of 4 to 6 years to complete. However, they will be gaining, okay, all that valuable experience in the workplace. So again, they're going to have that competitive advantage once they do complete their apprenticeship. Now, again, when it comes to high degree apprenticeships, they are very, very competitive. As I've stipulated, a lot of the pros with regards to them, they're very, very competitive. And I'll give you an example. Harry, he's currently a young apprentice. He works for Siemens in Nottingham. He's a data analyst. And for his job role, there were over 250 people applied for 3 job roles. So it's not necessarily the easy option. It can sometimes be a job in itself when applying for apprenticeships. Another student named Alexander, he actually had to apply for 15 different apprenticeships, and he was rejected from every single one. But on his 16th go, he managed to win a place on that apprenticeship. However, yes, it is difficult, but the benefits that they reap, okay, regards to apprenticeships, are second to none. But again, it's really, really important to sit down and start thinking, is this a possible viable option for your child? So in essence, they will be working full-time and fitting the equivalent of a degree part-time alongside it. Again, just one thing to mention is when your child starts applying for universities, if that's an option, they'll be applying through UCAS. Now, they can also apply for high degree apprenticeships alongside university courses that they're selecting. So currently through UCAS, you can select 5 universities, but equally, okay, you can apply for apprenticeships alongside it, and it doesn't take away from your 5. So maybe further on down the line, they probably decide I might go down the university route, or equally, they can look down the apprenticeship option as well. Now, there's a huge range of apprenticeships that are available, okay, in the region of 250, okay, high degree apprenticeships. On the screen here, you'll see a snippet, a taster of different fields, such as accounts and finance. There are large organisations, such as KPMG, Ernst & Young. They take a large cohort of apprentices per year. Maybe your child is interested in engineering, okay, possibly aerospace engineering. Or equally, maybe they fancy going to cybersecurity, okay, MI5 up north in Manchester, take on apprentices. But equally, the NHS, again, take on a number of apprentices in regards to midwifery and nursing. But again, this is just to give you guys a snippet, so to speak, okay? It could be that your child's interested in becoming a solicitor, possibly a paramedic, maybe even an architect, okay? But again, the onus is on you guys to sit down and go through the different options, okay, and the different sorts of apprenticeships that are currently available. Even in construction alone, there's in the region of 80 different apprenticeships, okay? So again, it's really, really important to do the research. Now, there there's lots of employers equally that take on apprentices. So on the screen here, you'll see a lot of familiar organisations from Sky, Jaguar Land Rover, Network Rail, okay? Roughly around about 50% of the apprenticeships are with these large organisations, okay? But the other 50% are with small to medium-sized businesses. So don't disregard the little man, so to speak. They have excellent apprenticeship options and pathways that will enable your child to be fast-tracked within the organisation. Okay, so again, do your research, have a look at said organisations. Now, equally, when I say the BBC, British Broadcasting, okay, the first thing that comes to mind is journalism, news, or possibly radio. But equally, behind the scenes, there's a whole host of different departments, different people that need to make it work. So if your child is possibly interested in sound engineering, okay, they'll need those. Possibly finance, again, they'll have a finance department. Maybe they're interested in becoming a lawyer. Okay, the BBC took on 6 law apprentices 2 years ago. But equally, look within the organisation. Okay, you might have to go directly to the company's web pages and have a look at their recruitment page, so to speak, to see what kind of apprenticeships are available. Okay. Now, as I mentioned to start off with, apprenticeships are split 80-20. Now, the remaining 20% of the time, okay, they'll be studying towards the job-related qualification. Now, this will be off-the-job learning, and again, they will get paid for this time. So if they were partaking in a high degree apprenticeship, it could be a combination of workplace learning. It can be a case of they visit De Montfort University every Tuesdays possibly to do that necessary learning. Equally, it could be every 2 weeks, okay, and it could be every 2 weeks on Wednesdays and Thursdays per se. Now, this would already be fit into the program, and the employer is not going to set your child up for failure in order for them not to complete that work. Okay, again, that question comes up quite a lot. How were they able to manage? But again, the organisation varies in terms of how they will structure that program. Okay, no two apprenticeships are the same. It will differ from each organisation to each organisation. Now, where else to look with regards to apprenticeships? I will take you and guide you on a government website, but first and foremost, definitely visit organisations' web pages. Go on to ASOS or Amazon and see what types of apprenticeships are available. But equally, if you don't see anything at the moment, okay, it might not necessarily be their recruitment period right now. Something to bear in mind. I always say to sign up to any newsletters that you can do in regards to organisations. You might get an email notification to tell you when their recruitment window opens. Now, equally, I always say to parents and students is everyone has social media, okay? Maybe not yourselves, but your child does. Follow any organisations that they're interested in. Follow their Twitter pages, their Instagram pages, Facebook pages as well. A lot of organisations are advertising on these different platforms, so you may as well utilise them and see what is available. But equally, speak to your friends and family. Okay, even within your organisation of where you guys work, you might take on apprentices. Okay, equally, your friends, organisations, company that they work for might take on apprentices. Have those open conversations. Encourage your child to put themselves out there a little bit and discuss what kind of field they're interested in. Now, equally, if they're not too sure about the field or the area that they're interested in going in, okay, that's perfectly fine. I would guide you and your child to, okay, go onto Google and type in vacancy snapshot. So at the bottom there, you'll see in bold black letters, vacancy, and just below it, snapshot. This is a website that will give you a list of large organisations that take on apprentices from Google, IBM, Network Rail, and it's really, really interactive in terms of seeing what they look for from apprentices, okay, what kind of skill sets they're looking for. Very, very interactive. Also stipulate what kind of grades they're asking for in said jobs. Again, it's worth paying that website visit, even for you guys, just to get a better idea and understanding as to what they're looking for and what levels there are out there. Now, there is a central website, okay, where you can start beginning to search for apprenticeships, and that is gov.uk/find an apprenticeship. Again, just go onto Google and type in find an apprenticeship, and the government webpage will pop up. Now, on the screen there, there's a big, massive red circle on create an account. So again, you can register, sign up, put all your details in. Takes about 3 to 5 minutes to do so. And once you've registered, you're on your way to start searching, okay, to see what is available locally or nationally per se. Okay, and this is what will pop up. This is the web page that will pop up. So again, I've just put the gov.uk website there. So in the top box, okay, I will say to students and parents is select the field that you possibly might be interested in going into. So if it's digital or engineering or fashion, textiles, again, it's a government website. Can't seem to take too much information, so try and keep it short and sweet, so to speak. But again, might need to play around with a number of different words. Now again, put your postcode in there, okay, and do a search, but be mindful, okay, is your child able to travel to, said 20 miles or 40 miles, okay? Will they be driving in the near future, or maybe this is something that you might have to help them out with? But again, at the bottom there is a disability confidence box. If your child does have any sorts of disabilities, please check that box, and you can do a search and see what kind of job roles that are currently available. Now, again, I did a quick search, okay, just around an hour ago to see how many jobs were available. So I used that government website and did a search, okay. So within a 5-mile radius of the school, okay, there is 52 vacancies available. Within a 10-mile radius, 177, 15 miles, you're looking at 606 vacancies, and 20 miles, 993. As you can see, the wider that you go, the more options are available. But equally, I do go to other schools in Colville and Leicester, okay? I'm going to be displaying the same sort of information. So as you can imagine, they are quite competitive when it comes to showcasing the number of apprenticeships. So it's really, really important that you sit down with your child and start looking in regards to their skill sets, okay? With apprenticeships, and I'll touch base on this, with apprenticeships, yes, grades, I mean, do apply yourself. I always say to students is give it 110%. But again, it's not the whole picture, okay? It's roughly around about 50% of what the employer is looking for in general, okay? So 50% of the time, they're looking at the grades per se. The other 50%, they're looking at the skills and attributes that they have, okay? They're thinking, how will this person fit within my organisation? Equally, if they fall slightly short with the grades per se, but able to match the skill sets of what the employer is looking for in the job specification, okay, I always say to students, is still apply. Got to be in it to win it. And again, with apprenticeships, you can apply for as many as you possibly want to. So if your child is interested in 30 different job roles, tailor the application form or the CV to that said job role. Now, I'll just go back to the first point. There isn't one deadline for apprenticeships, okay? They are live jobs. If I wanted to quit my job today, yourselves or Miss, we can quit our jobs and apply for apprenticeships. Okay, they're available to anyone over the age of 16 years of age. Now, large organisations, okay, equally small to medium-sized businesses may, okay, advertise in line with the academic year. And what I mean by that is that they will possibly advertise in September time, okay, because it might take a whole year in regards to their recruitment process. Equally, they could advertise in March, April time, and then again in May, June time to catch the school leavers per se. But always focus on the opening dates, okay? If there's a job available right now, just going to give you an example, and the closing date is the 31st of July, but the employer receives a large number of applicants, they might close that job role. So again, definitely give it some time, okay, when looking through different job roles, searching and looking at what they are asking for. Now, I've touched base on this. Apprenticeships are not advertised in one place. Yes, majority are on the government website, but not all of them are. So again, it's worth signing up to newsletters via organisations' websites, follow their social media platforms, and again, set up alerts. Now, again, every requirement for every apprenticeship, it varies regards to the entry requirements. Okay, definitely double check and see what it is that they're asking for. But last but not least, okay, with regards to apprenticeships, employees may either request a CV and a cover letter. And again, if they're filling out their personal statements that they will be doing in the foreseeable future, they can take bits and pieces of that information, okay, and tailor it to the application as well. But equally, it could be an application process where the employer asks a series of questions such as, what are your strengths? Why should we hire you? What are your hobbies and interests? Okay, just trying to get a feel for the individual. But again, something to bear in mind. Now, when it comes to apprenticeships, okay, I do get a lot of questions from parents as well as, is this a good apprenticeship? Now, I'm going to give you some tips and hints regards to that, but just want to bear in mind the fact that it is very personal to each young person and the employer. But overall, a few hints and tips are, what are they being paid for? I'm not saying the highest paying employers are the best and the lowest are the worst. A fair wage is encouraged, okay, and is an indicator that the employer is willing to invest in their staff, okay. Now again, secondly, what are the likely progression opportunities, okay? If the employer is openly discussing progression, then obviously that's a good sign. They want to keep the apprentice on. But also do your research and check the company's website, okay? They may have some success stories on there. I mean, who doesn't like to gloat and shout about their positive team and success story, so to speak? Thirdly, is it a permanent or fixed term position? Now, employers can offer apprentices either permanent or fixed term apprenticeship. If they are offering a fixed term apprenticeship, Okay, research if the employer supports moving staff into a permanent role, okay, on completion. Fourth, which training provider are they using? Okay, just like schools and colleges, you can check the Ofsted rating, okay, rating of the training provider that they use to deliver the necessary course that's required. Now you can also check their websites and again see their success stories and what kind of success they've had. But last but not least, check to see is the role varied, okay? Definitely read the job description and see if the employer offers the opportunity for them to rotate around the business, okay, and be able to involve them in a variety of different projects. Now, again, if you guys want more information, the amazing apprenticeship.com website, okay, it has a whole host of different resources available. Equally, they have a parents pack, okay, which is easily downloadable for free, or it can be emailed to you. Okay, once a month, you'll get lots of information in regards to organisations that are looking to hire, hints and tips, and just help generally in regards to the apprenticeship pathway. Okay, so amazingapprenticeships.com. And that will conclude my segment for today. So if we have any questions, please do utilise the chat function. I'll be more than happy to answer those for you.
Okay, hi everyone. Oh, sorry, Nav, I think your microphone's still on, is it? Is that all right? Thank you. Just a bit of an echo. Yes, hello, parents of Colville. I'm still up here at school. Miss Booth talking. Nav and Savannah, that was brilliant. Thank you so much. Brought back memories actually when you talked about university. I don't think much has changed anyway. A lot of information to take in there, guys. I was thinking if you could send me the PowerPoint, Nav and Savannah, we'll get those emailed out to parents and students, and I'll get them onto the website as well, because there is a lot to digest, but there's some additional websites there that you guys can source if you like, or have a look at. I'd just like to, if it's okay, advertise quickly now, and I'll put this slide on as well. Just a couple of dates that are coming up. Just a couple of dates. Now then, it's not that one. Oh gosh, what am I doing? I might have to leave this till tomorrow, sorry. Screen share. No, it's definitely not that one. Ah, that's the one. Thank you. I think that's Emma Parker coming to my rescue. Thank you, Miss Parker. Yeah, just a couple of things. Now we're going to email these out to, again, parents and students. Please check your junk mail because I don't always get through. We have paid LEBC for youngsters to do their virtual work experience. Now, I've had a couple of conversations with parents today. We've had to close the sixth form for this week, as you know, so students will be working at home. Wednesday all day and Thursday morning will be the virtual work experience. Please, we urge that all Year 12 do this. It's going to really help to build up the personal statement, both for the UCAS and for apprenticeships, because it's quite similar in terms of how you have to write about your skills and your employability and those the things that you develop in there. Work experience is crucial to that. Thursday morning is a deeper work challenge. Both of those will be certified, so you will receive a certificate for that. Again, UCAS and apprenticeships will be looking for that sort of evidence, if you like, that you've completed it. On Thursday afternoon, there will be a National Citizenship Service launch. Again, that's going to be certified. So please, that we ask that all students and parents, if you want to log into that on Thursday, that's at 2. Teams invites come in. Summer holiday, COVID compliant, of course, depending on what happens. But if students can do some sort of voluntary work, that's always a benefit to put on a CV. And of course, when we get back in the autumn term, Miss Parker's going to be launching a lot of student leadership opportunities. And that will sort of resonate throughout the school and help develop employability skills there. And of course, your confidence that goes hand in hand with that, public speaking, that sort of thing. So if you please have those dates in mind. Wednesday, Thursday this week are critical. You know where we are. You can phone us at any time. If there's any questions, I will mute, or nobody's putting anything on the chat. I will give it a minute. Is there anything you want to ask Nav or Savannah? No. Fantastic. All right. Like I said, girls, if you could send me those PowerPoints, that'd be great, and I'll get that out to parents. All right. All right. Well, good night, everybody. Have a lovely summer holiday. If there's any students out there, I know I'm doing a Zoom with my Year 12 youngsters tomorrow, but have a lovely holiday, everybody. All right. Please stay safe, and we'll see you all very soon. Thanks ever so much. Thank you. Oh, wait a minute. We've got a question here. Oh, gosh. Are there teaching apprenticeships? So that'll be one for Nav, first of all. Are there teaching apprenticeships?
Yeah, there are teaching apprenticeships, but again, it's worth registering on the gov.uk website and putting in the key box, in the key word tool search, teacher, primary school teacher. And again, they're live jobs. So it could be you get 3 in one go, or you might not get anything for said months, but it's really worth setting up alerts. So once you get on the website, in the top left-hand corner, it will say manage alerts. So as and when any vacancies come available, regards to teaching, you'll get an email notification. Does medical biology science go into medical category? I'm not sure if it needs. Oh, is this one? So for Aaron, does medical biology sciences go into medical category? Are you able to help Savannah, I believe?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so with medical biological sciences, if that is just what you're applying to, you wouldn't need to hit the October deadline. If you're thinking about things like natural sciences, though, and medicine, even if it's just one of your courses that is one of those options, you would need to meet that October deadline. So it's worth having a think. But if it is just medical sciences that you're applying to, then no, it's not the October deadline. If it's a couple of those and medicine, then it would need to be the October deadline. I hope that helps.
Can I just add to that, Savannah, as well? I know there's a few of you considering Oxbridge. We do every year, we have youngsters go to Oxford or Cambridge. We've got 3 youngsters this year, which is the best ever for us, actually. We normally get 1 youngster, but if you are considering Oxbridge, that's early deadline as well. I know Miss Parker's got things up her sleeve, so she'll be in touch with you guys as well. Anything else? I'll just give it a couple of seconds in case anyone's typing. No. Okay. I think that's it. All right. So good night, everybody. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Do all natural sciences have to be submitted by October? And that's Claire.
No, they don't. It just depends on where you're applying to. Usually natural sciences, it's very competitive because there's usually not as many places. And also it's high grades as well, just because you cover all sciences. That's why it's so nice, because you get, like Hannah Montana says, the best of both worlds. So it's not all of them. We always recommend getting them in by October, just because that means that you're meeting, especially if you're thinking about places like Oxford anyway, you'd have to get it in. So it's worth having a look and talking to the admissions team there to see what they recommend, because even if it doesn't say October, it might be better for you to get it in earlier than January, just so you have that opportunity as well. But I'd always say contact the admissions teams at every university, and they'd be able to tell you anyway. But there's not many places that offer natural sciences, so it wouldn't be too much back and forth for you. We always recommend October, but it's not strictly necessary. No worries.
Okay, I mean, that's a good point, isn't it, actually, Savannah? It's just, you know, double, triple checking with individual universities, and the sixth form team can help you contact admissions, so that's not, you get a lot of support, that's not an issue.